Hello, everyone, and welcome to Tuesday Night Lives inside our Facebook group, Launching Life with Autism. This group is for parents who are new to autism, who are struggling with the chaos that autism has brought to their lives. And I am your host, Erin Porter. I went through this chaos during 28 years in education, and now I'm on a mission to help parents get through it too. What I learned and implemented in over 28 years in the classroom and in spec ed has helped hundreds of parents and teachers calm the chaos that autism has brought to their lives. Before we get started, if you've popped on, please say hi so I know who's here. Facebook always tells me the number of people here, but never who you are. So drop a hello in the comment box. Let me know where you're tuning in from too. I love to know where people are coming from. I'd love to hear from you. Today, we are talking about something big. Why rewards don't work for children with autism. If you've ever felt frustrated that sticker charts or promises of treats just don't seem to work, then you are in the right place. I'm going to break it down into 3 parts. What rewards are, why parents use them, and why they're not the best approach for children with autism. Okay, so what is a reward? In simple terms, a reward is anything we give to encourage a behavior. Stickers, candy, screen time, praise, you name it. And parents use these all the time. You encourage your child to persevere. You praise your child when something works out for them. You hug them when they succeed. Rewards are part of a system called behavior reinforcement. When the behavior happens, you give the reward. The idea is that the behavior will happen more often in the future if the child can associate it with something they want. So sometimes parents dangle the reward ahead of the behavior. Maybe you've said something like, if you clean your room, you'll get dessert. Sound familiar? It's a common tool, and it can seem like it works, at least for a while. What rewards have you tried with your kids? Drop them in the comments. I'd love to know. Using rewards is the way some of us were taught, right? So we're conditioned to think rewards are like a go-to parenting tool. It's what we saw growing up, and it's what many parenting books suggest too. And at first, it feels like it works. At first, you might see results. Your child puts on their shoes because they want that cookie. But here's the catch. It's usually short-lived. And I see a lot of frustrated parents and teachers who say the child becomes bored of the reward. Sound familiar? Just today, I had a parent reach out and message that she noticed one thing with her son, that is they were always having to change up the rewards. A reward never stayed consistent with him. He got bored very easily with his rewards, which she said she assumed was part of his ADHD and autism diagnosis. So many parents tell me this, and they assume it's part of ADHD or autism, so they attach a story to it. Like, well, it is what it is, and that's how it's going to have to be because of whatever diagnosis. It becomes part of a loop that families with autism are living in. If you look in a different direction, see things from a different perspective, there's a different way to do things. But I get it. Parents of children with autism can be desperate for solutions. And let's be real. Parenting a child with autism can be overwhelming. When you're desperate to avoid meltdowns or just get through the day, a reward can feel like a lifeline. So let's look deeper at what's going on. Do you feel like you're always scrambling for the next reward or trying to anticipate what will work or find something that will stick longer than just a few times? If that sounds like you, type yes in the comments. So let's talk about why this isn't working for you. Number one is that autistic children process things in the world differently. So, for many children with autism, the connection between the behavior and the reward just doesn't click the same way it might for a neurotypical child. The reward might not even feel rewarding to them. And there might be zero association between the behavior and the reward. Do you know how quickly a reward has to be given for it to be tied to a behavior? It has to be received within seconds. How often are you able to stand or hover or be right there with the exact right thing in your hand to give it a moment's notice? And if you are doing this, you might be missing out on some life, because that's intense. Number two, rewards can cause some anxiety and some pressure, because think about it. If your child feels like they're being pushed into doing something just to get a reward, it can totally backfire. They might feel stressed and not even motivated because of that. But the last one, number three, is that rewards don't address the root cause of behaviors. Rewards are a band-aid, not a solution. They don't help your child communicate, regulate their emotions, or develop skills. Those are the things that really matter. And this is where I zone in. Why are so many traditional approaches to problems for children with autism just band-aids? Why isn't anyone else looking in a different direction? Every traditional strategy, solution, therapy is about someone else doing the work, not the child with autism. There's no learning independence if every time you want them to do something, you're making it worth something. Like, this is worth a cookie, or this is worth a Pokemon card, or this is worth a scoop of ice cream. Your child is actually learning a very intricate token reward system that's like currency. They aren't learning to be independent. Here's what I mean. If your child has to put on their shoes to go to school and you have to remind them, well, first of all, if you have to remind them, then it's not independent, right? But if you have to keep telling them, and then they think, well, I guess there's a cookie in it for me, so I'll do it. Or, I'm not really feeling the cookie today, so I don't care about the shoes. Which makes you late for work and them late for school, and there's no connection to independence. There's no connection to school. There's only the connection to the cookie through a promise. But I have good news for you. You don't need rewards. If you look in a different direction, there's other ways that could work better, and you can start doing them today. Here's another thing that confuses me about strategies for and supports for children with autism. There's no variation in them. I hear this phrase all the time. If you've met one child with autism, you've met one child with autism. This implies that each child is so different and has such unique needs that everything about every child with autism is so different. Yet all of them are doing the same things. Like OT, PT, speech, ABA. All of those things are being prescribed for children that are supposedly so different. And no one has ever said to me that any of those things have changed their child's life and created an independent person who looks inside themselves to solve their own problems. So they can eat, sleep, play, cope, toilet without other people managing them. So why? Why, if every child is so different, are they all prescribed the same things? There's a huge disconnect here. I just read a post about an hour ago in a group, and a mom was so sad that nothing is working for her son who's 9. He's still in diapers. Speech hasn't helped him communicate when he needs to go to the bathroom. OT hasn't helped with the toileting. Rewards haven't encouraged him to use the toilet. And ABA wants to discharge him because they say his goals are met. What? Like, really, what? I want to tell you a story about a client I had whose son was really into Pokemon for a bit, until he wasn't. He was 5 and he went to kindergarten. And at school, he had some EA support, and part of their job was to help entice him to go places, like to go to the gym or go to the library or sit on the carpet or do things like play or eat or get dressed to go outside. So they made up a reward system with little Pokemon stars that he could earn. And when he'd earned enough stars, he would get a Pokemon card to add to his new collection. It was an elaborate system that took a lot of time to create, but it was 100% personalized, and they did it to get him super excited. The thing was, it didn't last very long because his interest in Pokemon waned after about a week. So all the visuals and all of the stuff that they made, and all the Pokemon cards they bought, were useless only after a few days at school. Does that sound familiar? So then they had to rethink the whole reward and come up with something else that was reinforcing for him so that they could entice him into performing. And performing, I mean doing the things that they asked him to do. Here's the thing. Everyone in this scenario is playing defense. I'm back to my sports analogies. They are all in a loop, reacting to the child. He wasn't interested in doing any of the things they want him to do, and he wasn't interested in Pokemon anymore. So he was frustrated, they were frustrated, everyone was frustrated. Let me tell you about another. Maybe this sounds familiar. I had a client whose daughter loved ice cream. Can you see where this is going? Every time she complied, she got a little spoonful of ice cream, just a little one. The problem was she was never hungry for meals. She never complied without the ice cream. And they couldn't replicate it at school because you can't just have ice cream on hand all the time for when somebody puts on their boots or sits on the carpet. Like, remember, the reward has to come within seconds. So you have to have that ice cream already on the spoon, ready to give as soon as they do the behavior so they can associate it with the behavior. What I'm trying to show you here is that you're looking in the wrong direction. I know I'm going to sound like a broken record, but this is about self-regulation. You need self-regulation to get dressed, to go to school, to brush your teeth, to eat at the table, to use the toilet, to sleep, you name it. Without it, rewards are just something you're grasping at to try and entice your child to do all those things. They may be a quick fix in the short term, but they don't change behavior and create independence for the long term. If the only thing that gets your child to do something is a scoop of ice cream or the promise of a Pokemon card, What's going to happen when they're in high school expected to do things, or an adult? Who's going to provide the reward to them to do basic things? Okay, let me sum it up. Rewards might seem like a quick fix, but they don't work for children with autism in the long term. Instead, you need to focus on understanding and supporting their need to self-regulate. The best part is you don't have to wait for funding and therapies. If you're ready to look in a different direction, there's so much you can start doing to support your child to be independent and self-regulate. And I'm here to help. If you're ready to let go of rewards and embrace the idea that there's a different approach, you can type "no more rewards" in the comments. I'll reach out. Let's do this together. Thank you for joining me today. I don't say this enough, but you're an amazing parent. And your child is really lucky to have you. I love that you come out here to learn and to try new things and to embrace looking in a different direction. I'll see you next week for another new thing. Have a great week. Bye, everyone.